1.25 million tons of radioactive wastewater sitting in tanks at Japan's Fukushima Daiichi nuclear complex is slated to go into the Pacific Ocean. But without guarantees that the water is safe for release, human rights experts say Japan's decision is premature and the risk too high.
There is simply not enough information on the long-term consequences of exposure to humans and the environment for extended periods of time. The planet is facing a triple crisis of climate change, biodiversity, and pollution. Humanity is already exceeding the boundaries of what is a safe space. It cannot tolerate additional pollution.
Marcos Orellana is among 3 independent UN human rights experts calling on Japan to change its mind, echoing pressure from environmental groups and neighboring countries.
Japan argues that the waters will be treated and that radioactive contaminants will be removed below acceptable international standards. But the treatment process, the Advanced Liquid Processing System, or so-called ALPS, has limitations, so there really is no guarantee that it will succeed.
The experts are particularly concerned about the possible presence of carbon-14 and tritium in the water used to cool nuclear reactors damaged in the earthquake of 2011.
ALPS is not designed and does not remove carbon-14 or tritium, which remain in the waters. Furthermore, scientists warn that the risks of tritium have been underestimated, and thus existing standards may not offer adequate levels of protection.
Human rights experts are urging Japan to conduct an environmental impact assessment, or EIA, and for Japan to consider other viable options.
An EIA would look at alternatives in detail, including the option of storing the waters in tanks until tritium were no longer radioactive.
China has been among the region's more vocal critics, with State Council and Foreign Minister Wang Yi calling Japan's decision reckless for not exhausting safe disposal measures and not fully disclosing information. The U.S., however, backs Japan's move, saying it had closely coordinated with the International Atomic Energy Agency and had been transparent about its decision, deferring positions on an issue with potentially global ramifications.
This is not only a regional or bilateral issue, it's a global issue because the high seas in the Pacific Ocean are a global commons. The international community as a whole has an interest in the environmental protection of the marine environment in the high seas.
If Japan presses ahead with its decision, it will begin discharging the wastewater in 2 years, in a process that could take 40 years to complete. Li Lingtan, CGTN, New York.